Brought to you by Penguin.
The Place of Tides by James Rebanks. Read by Brian Dick. Often I see the flowers and trees of the distant sun world, but I do not see them as I used to see them. They are glowing with colour and piercingly beautiful. Their most secret meaning lies in their growth and their colour, but the people who live under the sun seem distant and small to me. With their bent heads they are running round in circles, the circles of their anxieties and troubles. Only a few of them see the glory of the sun. Christiane Ritter, A Woman in the Polar Night, 1938. Prelude. The age of humans will pass. Perhaps the end has already begun, though it may take a long time to play out. If this were a Hollywood movie, the final scenes would be a man running around with a gun in some ruined cityscape. But I don't think the last people will hang around in cities. There's no food in urban areas when order breaks down. People will flee to the extremities. They will run from the chaos, disease, and killing machines to the places where a life can still be scraped from our ruined ecosystems. The last humans will, like many of the first, hold to the coast, scratching a living from the sea and the shore. I imagine the last human on Earth being a woman on a rocky shoreline. I met someone like that once. A woman right at the outermost edge. A woman still living after everything she knew and understood had ended. It was about 10 years ago. I journeyed out to an island off the coast of Norway. It took 2 days of flights, trains and boats to get there, and a lot of waiting around in terminals. With every transfer, the gates required longer walks from the heart of the airport, and the planes got smaller. The last flight was on a twin-propeller plane. The air stewardess had to squeeze sideways past rows of oil rig workers with puffy Arctic coats. It was May, but on the bleak coastline below it looked like the snow had just melted. At home, I was living in an old farmhouse that we were renovating in a Cumbrian village close to where I'd grown up. I had a wooden shed out the back with a computer in it. My work was researching how to protect wild and fragile places from the growth of global tourism. My father, who had only ever worked with his hands, was confused about how that was a job, and sometimes so was I. A few days earlier, my boss, Peter, had called. He was sending me to a place called the Vega Archipelago. The Norwegians took conservation seriously, he said, and we could learn from them. Everything I knew about Norway could have been written on the side of a cinnamon bun, but my job was to learn fast. I discovered the archipelago was halfway up the Norwegian coast, in the region called Helgeland, on the 66th parallel, just below the Arctic Circle. Some of the birds that wintered in our valley spent their summers on that coastline, but hardly any humans made the journey. My destination was Vega, the biggest island in the archipelago, just a few miles long. From the boat, it seemed little more than a chain of mountain tops rising out of the sea. As we got closer, I could see there were farms and clusters of houses scattered between patches of wilderness. 2 cars were waiting for passengers, and a man stood by one of them. He loaded his passenger and then asked me where I was going. He said he would take me too. After a while, we passed through a tiny town with a few shops, a garage, a school, and a large wooden church. A mile or 2 down the road, I was dropped off in a little fishing village by an old fisherman's shack, where I would stay. I spent 2 days in a dull office building watching presentations by the tourism board. I scribbled down stats and asked the questions I was supposed to ask. But I found myself fascinated by the remotest islands and a strange tradition that seemed to keep people going out to them. Most of the slides from these islands showed images of women. Women in little boats, women making nests or holding eggs, women's hands clasping ducklings, women sitting.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?